Welcome to New York City, the city that never sleeps, where dreams come true, cultures mix, and every street has a story to tell. From the tall skyscrapers of Manhattan to the fun neighborhoods of Brooklyn, this is the heart of the world. From secret places in famous buildings to fun tales from the city's past, get ready to see a side of New York City you've never seen before. Stay with us, because you won't want to miss this. Here's your golden ticket to the epicenter of awe, starting with the Statue of Liberty, a gift from France that's become America's fierce symbol of liberty. The Statue of Liberty isn't just any statue. It stands as a beacon of hope and freedom and is the site that millions dream of visiting each year. But have you ever wondered how this iconic figure came to be? Imagine back in 1865, when a Frenchman named Edouard de la Bruyère had a brilliant idea. Why not gift a colossal statue to the United States to celebrate a century of independence and applaud their new step towards freedom by abolishing slavery? Excited by the idea, sculptor Frédéric Auguste Bartholdi got to work designing what we now know as Liberty Enlightening the World. Funding the dream wasn't easy. How did they manage? France buzzed with lotteries and entertainment to raise money, while America threw auctions and art shows. They even got poet Emma Lazarus to write the new Colossus to boost funds. When progress stalled, newspaper mogul Joseph Pulitzer came up with a clever move, promising to print the name of every donor in his newspaper. This encouraged over 120,000 people to donate, finally securing enough funds to the statue's pedestal. With funding sorted, the real challenge began. Who could tackle the monumental task of engineering such a statue? Bartholdi needed a top-notch engineer who was better than Gustave Eiffel, who later built the famed Eiffel Tower. The statue was assembled in France, then disassembled, shipped across the ocean in crates, and reassembled on what was then called Bedloe's Island. On October 28, 1886, the Statue of Liberty was unveiled, instantly becoming a hit. But what about her iconic torch? Originally, it wasn't meant to light up, but was a solid copper piece, gilded to shine in the daylight. Over the years, it saw many changes and eventually needed a replacement. By the 1980s, after a century of modifications and weather damage, a new torch was made to match Bartholdi's original design, and the original now resides in a museum for all to see. Isn't it incredible how a gift between nations can become a global symbol of liberty and inspiration? If you thought the Statue of Liberty was cool, get ready for something even more awesome. The Empire State Building isn't just any skyscraper, it's a soaring icon of New York City that has captured the imaginations of people around the world. Nestled in Manhattan's Midtown South, this 102-story marvel was designed by Shreve, Lamb and Harmon and shot up from the ground in record time between 1930 and 1931. Ever wonder why it's called the Empire State Building? It's named after New York's nickname, the Empire State. Standing tall at 1,250 feet with its roof alone, and reaching 1,454 feet if you including its antenna. It was the world's tallest building until 1970. After the tragic events of September 11, 2001, it regained its status as New York City's tallest building until 2012, when One World Trade Center took over. Today, it's not just a building, it's a star attraction. Around 4 million tourists a year flock to its 86th and 102nd floor observatories to catch breathtaking views of the city, and a newer observatory opened on the 80th floor in 2019. It's also a cultural beacon, a symbol so potent that the American Society of Civil Engineers called it one of the 7 wonders of the modern world. In 2007, it topped the American Institute of Architects list of America's favorite architecture. The New York City Landmarks Preservation Commission and the National Register of Historic Places have both recognized it as a historic landmark. Now, let's delve into another iconic landmark that has left an indelible mark on history and capture the imagination of millions around the globe. Stay tuned with us. Step into the electric wonder of Times Square in Midtown Manhattan, where 7th Avenue, 42nd Street and Broadway collide to create the world's most exhilarating crossroads. Known for its dazzling display of neon lights and the pulsing heart of the theater district, Times Square is not just a square, it's a global stage where the world comes to celebrate, especially on New Year's Eve. Ever wonder why it's called Times Square? It wasn't always known by this glitzy name. Back in the 1890s, it was Long Acre Square, a place with a bit of a shady reputation. But everything changed in 1904 when the New York Times newspaper moved into the Times Tower, right on the square. They started the tradition of the New Year's Eve ball drop in 1907, and suddenly, Times Square was the place to be when the clock struck midnight. Imagine the scene, a gigantic glass ball descending the flagpole, fireworks, confetti, and a sea of cheering people welcoming the new year. This tradition has only grown bigger and brighter with each passing year, with millions watching live from all over the US. Did you know that beneath this iconic square lies a major subway station that helped Times Square become the crossroads of the world? By the early 20th century, the area was the undisputed epicenter of American theater, and soon after, the booming neon signs became a hallmark of the square. From the steam-blowing coffee cup ads to a man puffing out smoke rings, Times Square became the ultimate spot for eye-catching advertisements. Today, Times Square is compulsory viewing, like a live show that never ends. Bright billboards continue to light up the sky, and every building is decked out in electric signs, a mandate by law. It's a 24/7 spectacle that you just can't miss. Isn't it fascinating how Times Square, once a notorious spot, has become a beacon of celebration and entertainment in the heart of New York City? It's truly a place where you can feel the pulse of the city. Let's shift our focus to another iconic landmark deeply intertwined with New York City's rich cultural tapestry. Madison Square Garden isn't just a venue. It's the heartbeat of New York's entertainment scene, bursting with history at every corner. Did you know this iconic spot we see today is the fourth version since its first opening in 1871? That's right, the garden has evolved through 4 different incarnations, each making its splash in NYC culture. The journey began with P.T. Barnum turning the original site into Barnum's Hippodrome for his famous circus. It wasn't long before it was transformed into the first official Madison Square Garden, a name it took when Cornelius Vanderbilt took over. Imagine attending a boxing match or cycling race under the open sky of the original garden. As times changed, so did the garden. The second Madison Square Garden, built in 1890, was an architectural wonder with a towering statue of Diana on its rooftop. However, it was the third garden, built in 1925, that turned heads. It was here that the New York Rangers hockey team and countless legendary boxing matches found a home, drawing crowds by the thousands. Who could forget Marilyn Monroe singing "Happy Birthday" to JFK in this very spot? Get ready to buckle up and prepare for the next breathtaking landmark. Did you know Central Park is not just a huge green space in the heart of Manhattan, but a historical masterpiece that has evolved alongside New York City itself? Spanning 843 acres, it's the first landscape park in the US and the most visited urban park in the country, with a whopping 42 million visitors every year. Imagine this. Back in the 1850s, visionaries Frederick Law Olmsted and Calvert Vaux designed this urban oasis, winning a competition that transformed the area from a neglected patch of land to a vibrant recreational retreat. Today, Central Park is a sanctuary for both locals and tourists, featuring everything from serene landscapes like the Ramble and Lake to bustling attractions. Ever wonder what it's like to watch Shakespeare in the park, or take a nostalgic ride on the Central Park Carousel? Thanks to the efforts of the Central Park Conservancy, which took over in 1980 to rejuvenate and maintain the park, Central Park remains a prime example of urban planning and preservation. As we journey through the bustling streets and serene parks of New York City, we discover that every corner has a story to tell, blending the past with the present in a city that never sleeps. From the iconic Statue of Liberty to the vibrant Broadway lights and the historic echoes of Madison Square Garden, New York invites us to explore its rich tapestry of cultural landmarks and hidden treasures. By delving into these stories, we not only deepen our understanding of this dynamic metropolis, but also celebrate the spirit of innovation and resilience that defines it. So come along and let New York City reveal its secrets, leaving you inspired and connected to the heart of one of the world's most extraordinary cities.